Please take me. I can cook. I can give you children too, she whispered. The saloon froze. Even the out-of-tune piano quit its wheezing. Boots stopped tapping. Cards stopped sliding. Eli Granger blinked like someone had just thrown a saddlebag over his head. He looked at her, the woman in black, eyes hollow as a dry well, voice sweet as creek water and just as quiet. Someone coughed. Glass clinked. She stood inches from his table, hands folded like a Sunday mourner, shadow spilling long across the warped floorboards. Dust motes spun in the late afternoon light. Behind the bar, old Rickles stopped polishing his shotgun. You heard me, she said again, softer now. Take me with you. Eli shifted in his chair, boots scraping. He was young, but the kind of young that's already tired. A travel-stained hat sat low over his brow, hiding the twitch in his eye. I don't even know your name, he muttered. Mara, she said. Mara Bellamy. A barmaid gasped. The sound rippled like a snake through brush. A poker player at the corner table hissed. Ain't she the one? Shut it, barked Rickle. Mara didn't flinch. She looked at Eli like he was the last lit lantern in a storm. I can cook, stitch, ride, and shoot if need be. You got a tired horse and nowhere to go. How about land no one dares ride to? You take me. You'll have both purpose and place. The room leaned in. Eli stood, slowly, eyes scanning the faces around them. Half were waiting for a fight. The other half were hoping she'd say more. You in trouble? He asked. She smiled, just the corner of her mouth. Aren't we all? They walked out together. No more words, just spurs on old wood and stares at their backs. Outside, the sun baked the dirt into iron. His horse pawed at nothing. Hers stood tied across the way, tall, coal-black, and calm. They mounted without speaking. From inside the saloon, the old prospector lit a rolled cigarette with shaking hands. She's not what she seems, boy, he muttered. You best ride careful. They rode. The horizon ahead shimmered with heat. Behind them, Deadwater watched in silence, a town that knew better than to ask too many questions. And up front, Mara Bellamy didn't look back. Not once. She just whispered something to the wind. Eli never did catch it. Mara swung it wide, dust curling around her boots as Eli rode past. The wind howled through the bones of the ranch, splintered fence posts, a barn sagging like an old drunk, a well choked with sand. The house stood half alive, windows broken, but eyes still watching. Eli dismounted slow. This your place? It was, she said. We'll be again. He ran a hand down his horse's neck, staring at the cracked porch steps. Looks like hell rode through. It did. Mara walked ahead, skirts brushing weeds that reached for her legs like forgotten hands. She pushed open the door. Hinges groaned. The smell hit him. Dust, sweat time. Inside, she moved like a woman returning to her own grave. Quiet. Familiar. She peeled a tarp from an old stove, dropped wood into it, struck a match with the same ease she'd shown holding his reins. Eli stood just inside the doorway, eyes sweeping the room. You lived here alone? She didn't answer. A hawk cried above the canyon rim. By nightfall, they'd patched the porch and hammered the fence back to half its height. She worked without stopping, sleeves rolled high, hands steady with the hammer. Eli watched her from the corner of his eye. She didn't sweat, didn't wince. She just worked like someone trying to outrun her own shadow. After supper, beans, salt pork, and silence, she led him to the barn. What was left of it? Only 3 walls stood, the roof mostly gone. Coyotes? Eli asked, crouching beside scattered bones. Men, she said. Years ago. She turned, walking to a rusted trunk near the back. She opened it. A lantern. Nails. A coil of wire. And something else. A rifle, wrapped in oilcloth. You shoot? He asked. She didn't look at him. I aim. He watched her stroke the stock like an old prayer. Later that night, Eli stepped out for water. Boot prints. Fresh. Circling the well. He turned slowly, hand near his belt. Nothing moved but the wind. He stared long into the dark, heart hammering, then slipped back inside. Mara was already awake, sitting in a chair, rifle across her lap. One finger to her lips. Eli whispered, You expecting someone? She didn't speak, only stared at the door. A full minute passed. Then she said, almost gently, Next time, they'll try fire. Eli sat down across from her, throat dry. What did you do? She turned her eyes to him. Calm. Cold. What I had to. And outside, in the dark beyond the dying fences of dead wind, something moved. Slowly. Watching. The sheriff's boots dangled from the gallows at sunrise. His hat lay in the dirt below him, soaked through with blood. A buzzard perched on the crossbeam, silent. Watching. The Red Coyote boys had ridden in before dawn, 12 men wide, dust screaming off their horses like a warning from hell. By the time the townsfolk stepped onto Main Street, it was already too late. Silas Vane stood at the front of the gang, tall, scarred, coat flapping like wings off the devil's back. He lit a cigar with the sheriff's own matchbook. Tell the rest, he said, voice like gravel sliding down steel. Water's ours. Land too. Any questions? Asked your lawman. No one answered. No one moved. The riders laughed, then rode out. By midday, Deadwater was ghost quiet. Doors locked, windows shuttered, and in the saloon, Eli poured sweat into his whiskey, hands trembling. We need to leave, he told Mara. She didn't look at him, just kept sewing. A torn saddlebag sat in her lap, needle flashing like a knife. They won't stop at the ranch, he said. You saw what they did. I saw, she said. Eli slammed the glass down. They're looking for someone. Mara paused. Her eyes flicked up. They're looking for me. Silence swallowed the room. He stepped back. You were one of them. No. She stood, walked to the hearth, pulled up a loose plank from the floor. Beneath it, a metal box. She opened it. Eli leaned forward, slow, unsure. Inside, a black pistol, polished and waiting. A faded Pinkerton badge. A folded, yellowed letter with a bloodstain on the corner. My husband rode with the Coyotes, she said, voice low. Before he was my husband, I helped put him in irons. Before they escaped. Before he found me. Eli's breath caught. You turned him in. I loved him once, she said. And he loved what he could control. When I ran, I changed my name. Buried the badge. Hid here. She placed the letter into the fire. Watched the flames eat it whole. Eli sat down hard. The chair creaked under him. And now he's dead. Her voice didn't tremble. But Silas blames me. For what happened to their crew. For what I did to Jesse. For leaving. Eli shook his head. You think they're coming for you? I know they are. She turned, eyes blazing like gunmetal in firelight. You can ride. Ride far. Forget you ever heard my name. Eli didn't answer. She lifted the pistol, held out to him. Or you can stay, and help me finish what I should have done years ago. Outside, a dust cloud rose on the edge of the ridge. Far off, but closing. The riders were coming. Again, the first rider dropped before his boots hit the ground. Mara's shot echoed off the canyon walls like thunder rolling through dry bone. The man spun backward, rifle flying, dead before he hit the dust. Eli crouched behind the water trough, reloading. His arm was bleeding, not bad, not yet. Two on the left, he shouted. Mara was already moving. Her coat flared as she stepped from the barn's broken doorway, rifle tucked tight to her shoulder. She fired again. The second man screamed and tumbled from his horse, one leg twisted under him. Gunfire cracked from the fence line. Bullets tore through the dry wood, whistled past Eli's ear. He fired blind around the corner. Hold your ground, Mara barked. He did. Smoke curled through the ranch yard. Dust stung their eyes. Horses screamed. The Red Coyotes were circling now, trying to flush her out. Mara didn't flinch. She stepped forward, bold as judgment, eyes locked on the man riding up the center, Silas Vane. He saw her, spurred his horse faster. She let him come. A pistol in each hand now. She met him in the open. Her hair blew wild in the wind, her long black duster snapping like wings behind her. For a breath, it was just the two of them. No bullets, no shouting. Should have stayed dead, he growled. You should have stayed away, she replied. He fired. She dropped to one knee, returned two shots. One hit the saddle horn, the other tore through his shoulder. He spun, roared, fell off the horse hard. Eli ran out, firing wild at the coyotes still riding in. One shot clipped a man's leg. Another slammed into a post. Mara didn't notice. She was walking toward Silas now, slow and steady, boots thudding like a funeral march. He scrambled back, blood pouring down his arm. You were mine, he spat. I was never yours, she said. He reached for his gun. She shot him through the eye. Silence fell. The last two coyotes turned and rode hard into the canyon, not even looking back. Mara stood in the smoke, breathing hard, barrel still warm. Behind her, Eli leaned against the post, shaking but alive. From the road, townsfolk began to gather, timid steps, wide eyes. A child ran forward, clutching Mara's skirt. A woman followed, hushed voice trembling. We thought you were just a widow. Eli laughed, bitter, breathless. She's a legend, he said, and she just saved your town. Mara looked out over the broken fences, the blood, the dust. Then she holstered the gun, turned back to the house, and said nothing.